Hey everyone, and welcome to another video from the Parrott Bros. Now today we are going to do rust prevention and rust treatment and how to make it better for the future. We want to protect that investment. We don't want to go for an MOT or a statutory yearly test and fail because it's got a rust hole on your subframe. The underside of your car is getting a bit tatty, the salt's battering into it. If you're not from the UK or from Great Britain, you probably won't know what this brown stuff is, but we unfortunately know this all too well, and it is rust. We're going to go through the different steps of how you can protect it going forward. So that's a rust converter, if you have rust, and then different types of protection, how to apply what you need, the kind of PPE, and how you can do it. This is something you could do on your driveway or at the side of the road if it's safe to do so. And pretty much anyone can do it. It's very simple. It just takes time. So if you want to invest some time into your car to protect that investment for the future, then stick around because this is the video for you. Now, before we get stuck into it, of course, as always, let's jump into that intro. After watching this video, of course, you're going to get underneath your car and have a look at your subframe. Now, hopefully, it looks quite nice. The likelihood is it probably looks a little bit like this, and it's brown in places and looks a bit rough. So, what we need to try and do is decipher between whether it's flaky rust or it's just surface rust, a little bit of corrosion. So, first of all, you're going to need some gloves. You also need, depending on how you're going to do it, you might need to jack your car up and put it on some stands. I recommend, if you can get them, a couple of decent axle stands. But if you're going to be underneath the car quite a lot, those drive-up stands, even if you have to jack it up, then put them underneath the car. At least it's on something sturdy, just so that, because you're going to be under there for a while, you may be under there with an angle grinder with a cleaning brush on it. You may be under there for hours on end. So you want to sort of prep the car right. I'll walk you through all the kind of things we need to do on this bench, and then I'll show you what it's like under the car. But basically, we're going to start off with a bit of surface corrosion clearing. Now, the easiest, safest, cheapest way to do it, nice wire brush, and all we're going to do is find an area of erosion like this, and just give it a light scuff, and you're going to get rid of all those flaky bits. Now, trying to catch a bit as it comes off, but basically if it looks like it's got an edge to it, as in the paint's flaking off, you want to get rid of all of that loose stuff, because otherwise we're going to pop a coating on, and then the coating's just going to kind of sit on top, and then pieces are going to fall off where they're flaking, and then it's going to come the coating off, and you're going to see some bare metal underneath. So all we need to do is just, where it's loose, just scuff it up to the point that you can see no sharp edges. Now you saw that there, look, big bit of coating, look, big bit of rust just come off. And then you'll need a brush. I did have one prepared here. There it is. And just give it a clean off. Obviously, underneath your car, it's all going to fall in your face. So you're going to need PPE. I hear you ask, what PPE do I need? Now, it depends. If you have a luscious beard like this and you're going to be doing loads of dirty stuff, I would recommend tucking it in, getting a cable tie, getting it out of the way. Always recommend eye protection. And this is whether you can have these snazzy bad boys. I'll model them for you. But if you get a little bit sweaty, these steam up really quickly and are really annoying, plus the whole rest of your face gets absolutely disgusting. So they're all right, but they're not great. You can have a COVID shield. Great for welding, great for doing anything with a disc, because it protects your ears and your face. It's all right, a bit, not great, but it's all right. Or you get a full hood, like so, and it also covers your beard nicely. If you're going to be underneath your car, take PPE very seriously, because I've done it before. I've had friends do it. You're doing something underneath and then the dust falls, so you turn your head, it goes in your ear. It's not ideal. You don't want it in your eyes, you don't want it in your ear. So make sure earplugs or some sort of ear muffs or a face shield, something like that, because at the end of the day, it's not going to be any good, and you're going to get told off if you go under the car to do one thing and then cause yourself some bother. So PPE, always recommended. If you're going to use a grinder, maybe go for some more rugged gloves, like some welding gloves, just because if you're anything like me, the grinder always ends up in your lap anyway. I've had my grinder out somewhere with a wheel on it. Oh, there it is. So this is the second option. If you've got a little bit more corrosion than you first thought, and you want to step up the ante, there's two different types of discs I would recommend. That's one of them. The other one, I'm just trying to remember where I'm hiding it, is up here. I call these wheels of death, because they're horrible things, and they throw off all sorts of crap towards you, but they are amazing for doing corrosion. I'll quickly show you because I don't want to make too much noise because it's not going to be very nice for you to watch and listen. But if you just literally take it on this and you'll see stuff flicking off. Make sure you've got your PPE on. There you go, look. Right, so that took all of 5 seconds and you can already see, hopefully you can see it a bit better there, look. It pulled all of that loose stuff off. Dead simple. Now, of course, this is a little bit more fiddly when you're underneath the car, but you want to get all that loose stuff off because then otherwise you'll come to it next year and it will look again just like this but in different places. So you want to remove all of the loose stuff. Once you've got all of that bubbly stuff off and it doesn't look horrible, how you go about it, of course, is entirely up to you. I mean, brush is great, but it will take you ages. You'll get arm ache and all of that kind of stuff. These are very good, but be careful with things like fuel lines and stuff like that. Maybe just use them on the face of the subframe, ideal. Again, these are very good, but a little bit dangerous. You can use ones on drills, however you want to do it. Clean the corrosion off, and then we're going to go to treatments. Now, there's 2 different ways of doing it. You can go straight to the second product. I'll show you this product first. This is a rust converter. So what this actually does is it chemically breaks down. It looks like milk in a bottle, but it basically, you brush it on the rust, and what it does is it converts any rust through science with chemical sort of changing, and it stops the rust in its tracks and it prohibits future rust. So it actually sort of eats into the metal, kills the rust, so there's no rust underneath the paint. You know when you see bubbling coming through your paint? That's what this stops. Treats the rust, and it is very good, and then you can paint over it. It goes black when it's finished. It starts white, then goes blue, and then goes black. I think you have to wait 24 or 48 hours. You do another coat if you want, and then you can paint over it after that, or put some sort of coating over. You can do that. I would recommend doing this first. If you're going to do it properly, it's probably best to treat it first with something like that and then go over with the chassis protection. You can buy loads of different products on the market. This was, I want to say £40 for a litre, but I'll be honest with you, I've done half of my car and I've used this much. So you'd probably get away with a 20 quid bottle, half the size, half a litre, would do you wonders. And then we're going over to the actual chassis protection. There's another thing I forgot to add to the bench, and that I will put this up here because it's a sort of a similar process. This is in a spray can. You'd probably want the roll-on or paint-on one. But this is a Raptor paint. This is like a stone chip, stone guard, which is more of a paint than a protection, but it is quite a hard, rugged paint. Looks really nice, really clear, and it dries smooth and hard, lumpy and hard, but smooth to the touch, so it doesn't stay wet. Whereas these treatments are more of a wax, so they still retain a small amount of like a sticky feel, sort of a sticky feel, like a greasy feel, but they obviously do their job. 2 different types, both pretty much the same. There's a black one and a clear one. The clear one looks absolutely disgusting, like brown brains, but it dries sort of a clear colour. And then the black one is more of a, well, it dries black, darker, so give it that more sort of natural finish. And they come in 2 different types. They come with a liquid type and a wax type. The wax type, I believe, my understanding and use of this in the past, is I use the wax with a brush, and it's quite, I don't know whether you'll be able to see this, but it's like tar in a tub. And you basically smear that with a brush over any threads, and I also sort of put it into holes where you can't always see, as well as getting the, I mean, these are brilliant, and the 5 litre, the 2.5 litre and the 5 litre tubs come with a mobile sprayer, which I'll show you, because these things that make it a lot easier. So you literally just pop that into your tub, and then you can just walk around the car. Maybe don't do that. You can walk around the car, getting in all the angles. You can get in the holes, squirting all the holes, because obviously you've got this upright, so this will spray at all angles, and you can fill all the voids, and you can get it pretty much everywhere. There's not really anything you can't spray it on. I'd probably recommend against brake discs, but besides that, you can go over most things. And it's a very easy thing to use. So treatment first, ideally, and then if you want to go for, because obviously this never really goes off, so it will fight against any salts and all the corrosions. If you weren't to use that, but you were to use this, Over time, obviously it would get chipped and then it's likely to go back to how it was. Obviously it'll take a lot longer, but it would still do it. This obviously gives you a longevity protection. I think it says a year, but depending on how you do it, how you drive your car, the fact that you can get just back under after another year and just give it a 10-minute spray, ideal. The only things you'll probably need, and I would recommend if you don't want to get in the bad books with your partner, a dust sheet. Drive over a dust sheet or lay it out and put some bricks on it or something heavy just to hold it down, because it's quite a... I'll show you in a minute. When we start doing this, it does get a little messy, a little quick. So get yourself an old yogurt pot or something like that. I haven't got one up here because I don't eat yogurts at the unit. But get yourself a yogurt pot. Get yourself some gloves. Now, I will warn you now, this stuff is like water. So get this brushed off out the way so we can do a demonstration. This stuff is like water. You do not need a lot and it goes a very long way. I'll zoom you in a minute so you can have a look. But again, well ventilated area. If you're using this upside down, be careful because, like I said, it's very watery. You see it there, it's just dripping off. You don't need a lot. Tap it out on the sides. And then all you do is just brush it on the surfaces where you've got rust visible or bare metal. And it starts white, goes blue. And it says, if you read the packet, which I know you're not going to, you're just going to copy me. You're supposed to apply 2 or 3 thin coats. And what you want to do is, as it's going off, you want to sort of work it in by going different ways. It doesn't take too long to go off. It overnight to go fully off, but you can already see, let me zoom you in here. You can already see it goes blue very quickly because it's dealing with the rust in question. Because obviously we've exposed all of that nice, fresh, rusty paint. And just nice thin coats. And just brush it in, and then it starts to turn blue, and that's the chemical reaction process. With a brush, make sure you get in all those gaps. Look at that, look. It's dead easy. I mean, if you're upside down, be careful, that's why I said wear your PPE, because it will drip on you. It is a very, see it does come off very easy. So always, I've made a right mess, and then I use the dust sheet. And you're just spreading it on, it goes on dead easy. Once it's nice and clean, all the loose bits off, do you know what I mean? Give it good work in. I use a smaller brush just because it's a little bit easier to manage. But it's worth making sure it's clean, because otherwise, if it's dirty, you're just going to be brushing this stuff around and it's not going to be doing anything. And then once you've done this step, you can then move on to the protection side of stuff. So what I'll do, leave that to do what it's got to do, and then we'll get underneath the car. And I'll show you what it looks like on the different steps. Because what I've done is I have treated it with this stuff, and then at the back I did the black, at the front I did the clear. So you get, or vice versa, I can't remember. You'll know when you get under there. And I'll just show you kind of the results. And I've left a few bits without doing it at all, so you get an idea of what it looks like when it's not done. So nice comparison there. Right, let's get underneath that car. So starting at the front, I have put that rust converter on the subframe, and I have done it all the way out to the point that it touches the wheels. I'll show you in a minute a bit closer. You see what I mean? So I've done the rust converter, and then I've hit it with the spray black, Lano black, and that has given it that real nice sort of dark finish. Obviously you can still see some damage. There's still some erosion underneath where the rust has used to have been. But this was literally just a half an hour quick coat. I mean, you can see where the rust was here. And that is going to be, hopefully, we'll have a longevity check in maybe 6 months to a year. But you can already see it's dark, and I've been out, I've done some mileage, and it looks exactly like I left it. Now, if you see what I was on about, if you look there, you can just see there where the lighter brown is. That's where I have not treated it, because I didn't take the wheels off. I just wanted to hit the subframe so I could give you an idea of what it looks like. You can apply a couple of coats just to make sure you get a really nice coverage. With this, all you have to do is just basically cover anything you don't want to spray, and then spray everything. You can spray all the underside of the car. Let me turn this a little bit so you can see. But like either side of the exhaust, cover the exhaust, and then just literally spray down both sides, because you're just going to protect the underside of your chassis, stop all that salt just sitting there. There's not really anything you can't spray. I would recommend against spraying the exhaust, because obviously it will get hot and burn off and smell. Try and avoid any moving parts, like your wheels, your brakes, and all that kind of stuff. Keep them off rubber boots, because there's no point in spraying it on anything like that, because it will just move and flick. But anything metal or painted underside of the car, inner arches, your hubs and all that kind of stuff, if you can get it in there nicely, maybe put it on a brush and just brush it on. But it will just make a nice sort of finish. Now let's move to the back of the car, because I've done a 50-50 for you. Okay, so if we start off on the driver's side, I have lightly scuffed off all older parts, so the drive shaft, around the drive shaft, the underside of the arm and the rear subframe here. And I have hit it with the rust converter and then given it a spray of the clear. And that is literally it. I haven't hit it at all with anything else. And if we come over this side, I have done nothing. So let me bring the light over for you. So as you can see there, still horrible and light brown, rusty. Not the likelihood, obviously, of that causing you any bother for the rest of the TT's life is probably quite low. The upper control arm, yeah, of course, that could snap, but the likelihood of the drive shaft snapping just because it's a little bit of surface rust is unlikely. But if you want to keep it all nice and all uniform and sort of longevity for the future, then coating the whole car up definitely worth doing, especially if we move over here and you look up into where this arm mounts, up into here, this could quite easily corrode around the body. So you want to get that nice and clean. With the brake pipes, because obviously they're copper and they can get damaged and rusty, so if you can keep the salt off of those, ideal. If it needs new brake straps, which this one actually looks quite good, these metal brake straps here, definitely worth coating. Take this cover off, coat all of those. Like I said, you can see how dark this is. Look, just hit it with one more. This was the clear, so it looks a bit more brown, where the rust is converted. Some go black, some rust converters, some go more rusty colour, but it is not going to get any worse, that's for sure. Right, let's head back to the bench and I'll show you what it's like to apply this stuff. Okay, so I've applied it, we're giving it half an hour, just so you can really see the finish of what the black looks like versus the clear. And of course, we have sprayed this directly on to rusty metal without any form of rust treatment. The rust treatment is still here going off. It takes a while. It's just starting to dry now because you just about see some brush marks in it. So that's pretty much well on its way. Now, of course, we've got the black coated side and we've got the clear coated side. This sprays on super simple, and I'll show you in a minute just by spraying a bit of black over the clear. On my car, I've done mostly clear because what I wanted to do was see what it was like, just to see if I could sort of keep that original look, but I think I'm just going to go with the black because it looks fantastic. It looks like new again. If they both do exactly the same thing, the black's going to give me that slightly nicer finish, covering over all that rust just so it doesn't look as bad. Now, of course, you can see it's been coated, super simple, but let's have a look and you'll see what I mean about the differences here. I mean, the differences speak for themselves. Now, of course, this will go black and then you can put the treatment over it and that stops the rust coming back. The Lano stuff has that rust sort of barrier, so it will stop the rust and it won't come through, but you'll definitely get a better finish if you take the flaky stuff off, treat it, and then hit it with a black or a clear Lano. You can see the difference. I mean, they speak for themselves. This is treated, so it shouldn't get any worse, but this just looks so much nicer, so much factory, super easy to spray on. I mean, we'll go over the clear just so you can get an idea of what it looks like and how easy it is. I mean, it speaks for itself, doesn't it? Super easy. And you get that lovely pump spray. So when you're in the car and you want to, when you're underneath the car, you've got this. You can have the bottle next to you, hold it so it doesn't tip over on you. And then you've got that all-terrain, you can go into all the angles, you get all into them crevices. Absolutely lovely, and then you'll have a brand new looking car underneath for many years to come. All I will say is PPE, PPE, PPE. Now, for most things, we all kind of avoid wearing goggles or glasses or some sort of shield. But when you're doing something like this, the rust can get in your eyes, it can get in your ears. Of course, it'll go in your hair and on your skin, and that's horrible. But protection, protection, protection. Make sure you wear gloves. Make sure you wear eye protection, ear protection, especially when you're upside down, because you're going to spray it and it's going to drip on you. But what a fantastic product. I'll put all the links down to what I bought. I got most of it from eBay. This is the NutraRust 661. Great stuff. I got recommended it by Grant, a guy who'd had it done on his TT, and a year or two later still looked really, really good. The Carbusonic is the Lano. This is Lano Black and Lano Clear, depending on how nice it is underneath, whether you want to paint it first or you've had it painted and you just want to clear coat it. Clear or black is entirely up to you. Maybe it depends on the colour of your car, you don't want to make it all black underneath. Whatever it is, maybe clear on the painted, black on all of the metal work underneath. And then, of course, you've got the cavity stuff. This stuff, absolutely fantastic. This is good for your nuts and the bits that you can't quite get to. Nice and thick, goes on lovely, nice with a brush. Look at that, look, beautiful, easy to use. Make sure you wear gloves because it is a bit messy. But it is a great, great product. Now that was I got this from the company that does all my leather care, the Leather Colour Doctor, because they are a chemist of all car chemicals and all other things. Really easy to use, and it comes with that lovely set with the nozzle and the wax, and you can buy nice, I think about 70 or 80 quid, enough to do a whole car and some. This was about 40 quid for a litre, but to be honest, you'll only need half a litre, if that. The brushes, 5 brushes for 2 quid from Toolstation. You can probably buy them cheaper online, but you can't go wrong. Dust sheet, a quid, maybe 2 quid tops. But it's worth sheeting out because you're going to make a mess of that lovely driveway if you're not careful. And also wear old clothes because you're probably going to get it all over yourself. But for a super DIY job, I mean, a company could charge you, because it's very man intensive, labour hours wise. If you're to do a real nice job with the rust converter, with a wire brush, with the drill brush, you could be there a whole day, 2 days, if you want to be really, really, really particular, and go into a real nice, all nooks and crannies, all little tiny bits, and just trying to get it absolutely perfect before putting it on. Is a lot of man hours, and a lot of garages charge anywhere from £30 at the cheap end to £100 plus VAT at the thick end. So it can get very, very expensive. But to buy all the kit, less than 100 quid, and your time, depends if you charge yourself or you charge someone else for it. Get the kids involved, get the missus doing it, she'll love it, painting. My missus absolutely loves painting. She'll probably put most of it on the car, the bodywork, but hopefully it's wipeable. But I can't help but absolutely love it. I mean, if you're going to be really lazy and you don't want to use the converter and you don't want to use the scrubber, just by using this stuff, you're going to stop it from getting any worse. Short term, it will last longer, keeps it from the elements in this winter and going forwards. So there's no real wrong option. It just depends on how much you want to do. But I just wanted to share it with you. I've been meaning to do this for absolutely ages on the channel. Just show you how simple it is. Just mask off anything you don't want to paint. If you're doing the wheel arches, take the wheel off, put a bag over the brakes, because you don't want to cover the brakes. And then just do all the bodywork, do you know what I mean, all the inner arches, let it dry. Try not to do it when you're going to drive it straight away. And then you are going to be set for a really long time. When you go for an MOT, they'll be like, this geezer takes care of his car. Absolutely loves it. And it's just one of those things. We have some really harsh roads, really horrible environments, and it really, really helps. I'll stick some links down to this stuff. Like I said, depends. If you want black, I actually like the black on this, and I'll probably use the clear on the painted undersides where it's silver underneath my silver car, just because then it retains that sort of, the metalwork's black and then the bodywork is the car colour, but it's all coated, and then I don't have to worry about going for another MOT and they're finding a rust hole because I've treated it. It should not get any worse. In a year's time, I'm still going to have a couple of litres, a litre of that left, so I can just have another go over and just lock that in. And I want to see these cars on the road for many years to come. I hope you do too. And this is just one way of just counteracting that rust and the salt that they put on the roads, because we have some really horrible weather. They love using salt. If you're in America, it just keeps it shiny underneath. If it's not, you live in California, you spray this stuff and it looks shiny underneath and shiny on top. But it prevents it from any real damage. But I hope you found that helpful. If you've done anything different or you want to ask any questions, feel free to do it down in the comments. As always, really appreciate your feedback. This is just what I use or what I would use. I'll put all the links down in the description to what I've used. Absolutely love it. And I mean, it goes quite tacky quite quickly. If you want to make it slightly nicer and if you don't want to get any lumps and bumps, you can just brush it off, and then after about a day or two, it will start to go sort of tacky, and you'll just have that nice sort of slightly soft, not soft finish, but like a wax, as if you've waxed the underside. But I mean, from what that looked like when we started this video to what it looks like now, I know it's blue in the middle, but I go black. But that subframe, do you know what I mean? You could stick on a car, good for another 10 or 15 years. But enough of me waffling, guys. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye for now.